Hello you wonderful slags, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I love big demon daddies. Belakor is an absolute unit, a thick boy with delusions of grandeur, rippling hard abs, and the ambition to go for it. Did you know he's one of, if not the first, demon prince? Making him the first person to accept that peaceful existence in the grimdark future is pointless, so you might as well suck and cock your way across the 41st millennium. But this demon chad is not exclusive to the future battlefields of 40k. He also shows up in Age of Sigmar too, where he can turn off a hero for an entire turn. How does he do it, you ask? Well, he simply leans forward and whispers into their ear, "I play Commander competitively." Suddenly every cock in the room is flaccid and every vagina is dry. He is a menace on the tabletop and he absolutely fucks, probably being one of the best single combatants in all of 40k, at least on the tabletop and in the lore. But his abilities aren't limited to the expensive plastic world. He's now playable in everyone's favourite bank balance crippling cardboard addiction, Magic the Chatterning. And whilst Marnius might be a better competitive commander because he goes infinite with literally anything, even just a handful of nasal hair and yeast, Belakor introduces us to a much more interesting build path by being objectively the best demon commander in the game. So today I'm going to talk about how we build the demon Mega Chungus. How we're going to build Belakor. But before we do that, let's talk about nudes. Nudes! This video is brought to you by Riva Demon. Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, I am. It rhymes with fight. I love me some instant noodles, especially of the pot variety here in the UK, but as we all know, they can be full of shit. I'm aware of it, you're aware of it, and this catboy noodle bather here is aware of it. This is Tim. We should all be more like Tim. Tim is the founder of Vite Ramen. He likes noodles, but like me, realizes that he couldn't regularly eat them if he wanted to look after himself. So he started his own ramen company, aiming to produce tasty little noodles with less salt content and a higher protein content to make them fit into a more balanced diet. They're a relatively small company, they're Asian-owned, American-based, and they acknowledge that their ramen isn't the cheapest option on the market, which is pretty refreshing, honestly. Instead, they look to ensure that they continue to keep their work in the States, provide living wages for their staff, and provide protein and nutrient-dense ramen for people like me, for fat cunts who really need to sort their life out. They said that I could be pretty relaxed and say whatever I want in the ad, as long as I'm honest. So that's a bit unfortunate, because I can't say that I use them as a masturbatory aid. Because the truth be told, I can't get an erection without fruit being involved anymore. They're nutritious, they're tasty, and there's approximately 30 grams per bag. I think the miso one was only 27 grams. So they fit into trying to have a protein-rich diet alongside the gym. Try not to shake these too much because I'm going to make noise on the mic. Hit up the link in the description below for a free gift and free shipping in the US. If you use the code KENOBI at checkout, get 10% off your order. The garlic pork tonkatsu is my favourite so far, but they're a variety pack so you can later try all the flavours if you want. And even T-Pain likes these noodles. The man was once on a boat, so he must know what he's talking about. So that's viteramen.com/Kenobi, or just hit the link in the description and use the code KENOBI to help support the show. Now, on with what we were talking about, which was daddies. Did you know that in Warhammer, demon is spelt demon? But in Magic the Gathering, it's spelled demon. So who is your father and what does he do? Belakor, complete with punctuation mid-name, is a demon prince, or in the magical world, a demon noble. A 6/6 flyer for 6, he gives you access to Grixis, which is the perfect colours for demon tribal. When he enters the battlefield, you get to draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of demons you control, including himself. So already he rewards you for having a board state when you cast him or when he enters. In addition to that, Belakor has a second ability too, which is akin to Warstorm Surge. It is in fact just a Warstorm Surge, specifically for demon. Do note though it's other demons. Belakor doesn't trigger himself, which seems fair for his 6 mana cost. So let's talk quickly about demons. They normally have a very high mana cost, and they normally come with a downside. It's normally an explicit downside. It's kind of, if anything, up until the last 5 years or so, a key mechanical part of their identity. You make a deal with the devil, or demon in this case, and it will have its downsides, of course. Its power at any cost. They are iconic. They're quintessential creatures of black's part of the colour pie, both visually iconic, but also portraying power at any cost. Demons are cool. But what are we looking to do with these demons? Well, we're essentially a glorified burn deck with a slight combo element. We're going to play demons, we're going to draw cards, I'm going to dome some poor bastards for a bunch of damage. Now, to clarify, I'm not going to tell you to play Counterspell or Mystic Remora or what else did I write down here? Cabal Coffers. All of those things should be on your list of things you include in these kind of decks anyway. You're all included within that color combination. I'm going to talk specifically about, words are fucking hard. I'm going to talk specifically about this archetype, this strategy, the demon tribal, and what we're going to do with said. Let's start with the demons. Firstly, the best way to begin this build is from the Ruinous Powers 40k precon, as it has a suite of decent demons in it that are good placeholders or utility pieces until you pick up the weirder parts from shops. And if you are looking to buy singles, you can go to coolstuffinc.com and use the code Kenobi at checkout to get 5% off your order. The star of the show is going to be Apocalypse Demon. Belakor allows us to shoot anything in play, but mainly our opponent's faces with the power and toughness of our demons. For that reason, we want to be playing the biggest demons known to man. Apocalypse Demon is a shit demon that no one remembers from Hours of Devastation, but its stats are equal to the number of cards in our graveyard. Our game plan is to dump shit into our yard through multiple sources, looting effects and similar, and make this boy come out as a 10-10, a 20-20, or if you're living the fucking dream, a 50-50. And with Belakor in play, that just kills someone. For that reason, take the Reliquary Tower out of the deck. Throw it in the fucking bin. Drawing cards is part of our game plan in general, but discarding the hand size is going to actually make our deck stronger and more powerful. Learn to be selective about what you keep in hand. Apocalypse Demon is this deck's Craterhoof Behemoth. It's going to be what you tutor for and how you close out games out of nowhere for the low cost of Belakor and a demon. So that is going to be like 12 fucking mana. To further improve our damage on into the battlefield plan, I'm utilizing Warstorm Surge alongside Belakor as Belakor number 2, but also have a damage doubler in the form of Dictate. I like Dictate as our doubler, as we can keep interaction like Counterspell or Chaos Warp up, and then flash this in before we begin our turn. The next demon in our pocket is Demon of Dark Schemes, a mini wrath attached to a decent body. It generates energy when you kill shit, and when other people kill shit as well, and it allows you to reanimate from any graveyard. That's not just your graveyard, but any graveyard. An excellent utility there to grab useful creatures from other people's bins, but more often than not, you're going to target your own big fatties that cost too much to cast outright because demons are expensive. And then you get to put them into play for cheap. You can, after wrathing a token's player's board, where you make at least 4, maybe 6 energy, maybe make 2 more demons for the low cost of just 6 mana, or grab a clone and make another Demon of Dark Schemes for a total of -4/-4 to all other creatures. That includes your own. The demons don't shrink themselves, the Demons of Dark Schemes, but they do shrink everything else. Either way, you can get some interesting play out of this card. I really like it in general, and it's very strong when demons is your tribe. Next up, we have 2 options that are on theme, but in the lower end of the power level. We have Riva Demon. It wraths when it enters the battlefield, but it costs 8 mana, and you have to have cast it to get the ability. If you're playing Coffers and Dark Ritual, then it's certainly castable, but in the leaner builds, leave it at home. And there's also a big shout out here to Dread Cacodemon, which got the funniest name on the list, for the same kind of effect, but again, you can't cheat it out. Lower powered, slow moving metas will like this, but avoid it if you want to play at a higher power level. Ragnar Showstopper is actually our last wrath on a body, and it doesn't kill demons. So it basically kills, statistically, 50% of every non-demon in play, so it's pretty good in our deck. And now we have our most powerful demon, beyond Apocalypse Demon, which is the best card in the deck, but this card costs us 40 bucks. It's Archfiend of Despair. This guy is fucking nuts. He is 8 mana, but no downside for cheating him out, so he does all his things even if you do reanimate him. And he is a recent as Battle Bond too, so there's no downside for having him in play like there is for other demons. Whilst he's in play, opponents can't gain life, which is a strong effect, and we have access to that twice thanks to this and Plague Drone from the new precon. But his second line of text is the hot shit. It adds a trigger at the end of each end step, where opponents lose life equal to the life already lost this turn. So it doubles up the damage being dealt to everybody by everything. So if there's combat going on between other players, it will double that damage. But more importantly, of course, if you dome someone for 6 with an ETB of a 6/6 off of Belakor, they lose 6 at the end, that's 12. If you hit him for 10, that's 20. If you hit him with a 20/20 Apocalypse Demon, that's 40. That's right, I can do basic maths. Like I said, we're basically Demon Burn, and you're going to like it. Garuda is also a demon, which allows us to, if you wanted to, have it in the companion zone if you cut all your odd cast and cost demons, but if you don't, you can still play it in the main deck. Remember, its effect only allows you to reanimate things that you hit off the mill for, but you can set this up quite easily with a Brainstorm, since it's Divine Top, or a Vampiric Tutor. Chaining a Garuda into an Archfiend of Despair with Belakor in play means someone takes 24 damage, or should I say 12 damage, 12 loss of life. It's what we call a bazinga. The last couple of utility demons are Phyrexian Mind Demon and Demonic Tutor Demon, both pretty hot for obvious reasons. You could play the actual Demonic Tutor, or you should play Demonic Tutor if you've got it. Phyrexian Arena I'm not so hot on, but when it's attached to an actual body, which is going to gain you, draw you cards, attack, block, and dome people, it's a lot better. Beyond that, like I said, there's many utility demon in the Chaos deck, including a haste enabler in Herald of Slanesh, and one that survives Wraths, leaving you 2 bodies behind as well, which draws you 2 cards when you cast a Belakor after him. And let's not forget all the changelings out there too. My pick for being Gravedigger Changeling, allowing you to set up later turns with a second shot at Apocalypse Demon. And lastly, a couple of clones are good too. Body double to utilize things out of your yard, alongside Sakashima for a second copy of Belakor or a second copy of Apocalypse Demon. Let's talk about some less obvious inclusions that aren't just the best demons. Let's talk about some tech that makes those demons better. We want to keep our life total high, especially if we're going to use a card like Reanimate at some point later, which I think is a good card in this deck. We don't want to die to being either the arch enemy, and we don't want to accidentally kill ourselves with Belakor's first ability by triggering it too many times. With that in mind, a little include here is Panharmonicon, doubles Belakor's second ability, doubles his first ability, and doubles a lot of other abilities as well off of things like Shadowborn Demon if you end up including it. A Panharmonicon plus a Belakor plus a Dictate and a 6/6 Demon in the battlefield, so 4 cards is 24 damage. That's number 1. But we don't want to kill ourselves, so Lifelink is good. The best 2 options here are Whip of Erebos to allow us to both gain life but also throw demons out of the graveyard into play, and Raphael, Fiendish Survivor, who is also a Lord of Demons, given +1/+1, and also gives them lifelink. The second ability is just added gravy. The lifelink allows us to play Tivash Gloom Summoner to do some good work. Tivash creates an XX demon in your end step by paying X life, where X is the life you gain this turn. This could just be a measly 6/6 that triggers Belakor again, and you gain 6 life back for paying the 6 life because you've probably still got lifelink, or it could be a 50/50 that ends the game with 1 Apocalypse Demon trigger. Look, Apocalypse Demon is the best card in our deck, okay? And to stress this again, lifelink gives you life gain for non-combat damage in Magic, so Belakor and demons entering the battlefield and shooting people off Warstorm Surge will gain you that life because the creatures do the damage. So with all of this stuff about reanimating, how do we fill our yard? Wheels are good, Windfall, Wheel of Fortune if you've got infinite money, or Dark Deal for a couple of dollars give you ways to wheel people's hands, messing with them, and putting things in your bin. Also, discarding the hand size is your best friend in this deck. So like I said, fuck Reliquary Tower. Ditch some of the cards you drew from Decree of Pain or Mystic Remora and utilize that as added power later on when you draw your graveyard based cards. There are other ways to get things in the bin too. So for example, we can Surveil off of the Demon of Dark Whispers, whatever the fuck it's called. Forgotten the name, didn't write it down. Which allows us to pay life and put things into our bin to finish off the game, but also we can sacrifice them. Firstly, I think Phyrexian Tower is at home here, helping you to loop demons over the turns by reanimating them and reusing them off of Whip, for example, or turn a useless 6/6 body that's now attacked into more mana, because our deck is mana hungry. Beyond that, I think we want to be firing off demons into our opponents with Sneak Attack. It allows us to pay just 1 mana for something like the Archfiend or the Apocalypse Chad, and easily get it back into our graveyard to abuse again later. And it also gives them haste, so we can we can fire multiple threats at people out of nowhere. I mean, people will see Sneak Attack and be scared, as they always are. There'll be a dream turn, though, where you activate Sneak 3 times, put 3 demons in, triggering Belakor or Warstorm Surge, and then slamming multiple demons just to close out the game and hit people in the face, a wipe out an unsuspecting player, and you'll be loving life. Beyond that, if your graveyard is filled, then you can't go wrong with a little bit of living death. Putting many a demon into play, including a Belakor at the same time if you've let it go to graveyard, to get the triggers. If they enter at the same time, they will be seen by Belakor and they will shoot people. Beyond this, some interesting tech. There's a card, an edict, that I don't see many people talk about, which is Reign of the Pit, where each player sacrifices a creature, including yourself, and you make a demon that is an XX, where X is the total power sacked this way. Usually, you'll probably only get maybe a 6/6 or an 8/8 if you're sacking a demon as well, because people will be sacking their utility creatures. But on rare occasion, you're going to hit someone's big boy who's left on their own in the field, and you're going to look like an absolute boss. Rounding out this philosophical demon summoning document, let's talk about Flicker as another theme and strategy towards getting value. Belakor is all about that enter the battlefield effect of himself or other demons, and whilst white is one of the better colours for flickering, blue is basically just as good for the most part. I think Thassa's is okay at a lower power level. I'd be aiming for instant speed flicker effects though if you're playing a higher power level, like Ghostly Flicker being the absolute premium of allowing you to save your commander from an instant speed removal spell and reset an adjacent demon. And again, if they enter the battlefield at the same time, they see each other. They trigger Belakor's second ability. I've written Essence Scatter in my notes, and that is not what I mean. I think it's Essence Flux. You'll see it on screen now. It's cheaper. It's a one-shot version of this. It's not as good as Ghostly Flicker, but for 1 mana, you can't complain. And both of them allow you to keep up mana and interaction to blank removal spells from your opponents. People will think you've got counter magic and look to you and fear you, and in reality you're just flicking at the end of the last player's turn or saving your guys from removal. And of course we can't talk about flicker, so last but no means least, without mentioning, well, Dead Eye Navigator. When paired with Belakor, you will draw a fuck ton of cards, or maybe you just need to pair it with Apocalypse Demon, flicker it twice and kill the table. It's very, very strong, although you've got to bear in mind if you're adding this to your deck, you are pushing your average CMC higher and higher. The main reason that Belakor is never going to be as good as Miner's Calgar is because Belakor demands you to play demons, which are one of the most expensive mana cost tribes in the game. So you're never going to dominate CEDH events with this, but you can probably do relatively well at high-end tables once the deck is tuned. I hope you found that insightful, interesting and fun. I didn't want to just list out good demons, because any fucker can do that, just by reading them off of, I don't know. I didn't even check. I assume it's an EDH rec page for demons, but you can search it on Skyfall. I want to talk about how those demons interact with one another and Belakor himself, and then add in some other tech. I generally think like Whip, for example, is an underplayed card in Commander in general. I think it's real good here for eking out some life points and just hitting them with that last demon to get you over the finish line. Thank you to Vidramin for sponsoring this video. If you enjoyed it and you liked the video, smash that like button. If I missed something that should have been in the deck, some other piece of tech that I haven't considered, please let me know in the comment section below. I've been Vince, be good to one another, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.